From banging in goals,
Oh yes! What a response from Arsenal! And it's Captain Fantastic Ødegaard!
to forgetting how to shoot. From a player that could unlock any back line,
But he's getting to a point now whereby when I watch him play, it is so smooth, it's so silky.
to having the same amount of chances created as Raya.
When Martin has those spells, he's starting playing too easy. Backwards, sideways.
From being Arsenal's player of the season to people questioning his place in the team.
They want to continue to play the 90 minutes, but that's why we have the subs to try to help the team.
Martin Ødegaard's journey has been a story on its own. He was once considered one of the best midfielders in the Premier League.
For me, that is an absolute unbelievable football player, and I think the best player in the league that I've seen this season on a regular basis.
Yet now people speak more about his hair flicks than his performances.
To pass it backwards.
What the hell happened to Arsenal's skipper? In previous seasons, Martin Ødegaard was flying, a playmaker capable of creating something out of nothing, someone who truly understood what it means to be a gunner and what it meant to play for a massive club with a rich history, especially during a time where many stars didn't respect the badge. He came to Arsenal during a down period, during a period where the club was seen as a joke, but he saw Arteta's vision early and understood that Arsenal is one of the most stable clubs in England.
Yeah, I spoke to him before coming here, of course, so that was very important for me, and he seems like a top manager, and yeah, I really liked his ideas.
A lot of people at the time felt the number 10 role was dying in football as teams transitioned to a more pressing and running game, especially after watching Ozil not press. But Ødegaard was showing that the role was not gone, it had just changed. He scored, he assisted, but he also pressed like a man possessed. Combine that with his clever touch and composure, and Arsenal fans felt like they were watching one of the best midfielders in the world, not just the Premier League. So what happened to that guy? His numbers on paper still look decent. He's still among the best when it came to chances created, passes into the box, ball progression. Nothing jumped out from the stats sheet to suggest that he had fallen off a cliff. But for fans who watch him every week, something felt off. He seemed to do more motivational gestures per 90 than score. Could it be the weight of expectations? He had been so good in previous seasons that he had really raised the bar on what we were supposed to expect from him. He had made fans think that he's the type of midfielder who can just carry a team on his back. And you can't blame fans for thinking that because he picked up 15 goals and 7 assists in the 2023 season, then followed it up with an 11 goal and 11 assist season in 2024 as he led the Gunners to challenge for the Premier League title. Ødegaard actually became the first player on record since the 2004 season to complete 100 plus passes, create at least 5 chances, and assist multiple goals in the same Premier League match. The left foot, the ability to get out of tight spaces, the vision. He had ended the 2024 season as the player with the most chances created from open play in the Premier League. Some of the passes Ødegaard can find are insane. I'm not afraid to say it. Some of the passes he picks out sexually arouse me. And throughout the years, he has also developed his shot. So when he gets it on his left foot, he's a goal threat as well. But what gave Ødegaard the edge was that he also had all the intangibles. He pressed for 90 minutes, he worked for the team.
But if I have to use him as an example for the rest of the team, is what he does without the ball. He's one of our most talented players, the way he tracks back, the way he runs.
It's why he was given the captain's armband early in his Arsenal career, and why he is also the captain of the Norwegian national team. He fires up the crowd, he encourages his teammates. Even if he wasn't performing at his best, he was able to elevate the team in other ways. So it came as no surprise that he won the Arsenal Player of the Season back to back. And he was an easy player to root for because of his journey. He was a talent from Norway, a country not famously known for producing top-level footballers. You might see the likes of Haaland and Oscar Bob, but it's a rare sight. This is a country known more for skiing and having tree huggers than producing world-class footballers. And Ødegaard's journey was that much more special because while he is considered one of the very best midfielders in the world, at one point he was about to be added to the list of teenage superstars who never fulfilled their potential.
Did you ever let some of that get to you when people were perhaps even calling you a flop because you haven't been able to show them exactly what you were about? I mean, how do you deal with that as a young player?
Early in his career, there was a lot of hype around Ødegaard. At a young age, he was already playing with older kids. He was seen as a prodigy, being included in the first team at the age of 15 without even having signed a professional contract. Aged 15 years and 118 days, he became the youngest footballer ever to play in the Type Ligue 1. He made his league debut on the 13th of April 2014. 11 days later, he scored his first professional goal and became the youngest goal scorer in the league, when he scored the 4th goal in a 4-1 home victory. He was so good that established players like John-Arne Riise demanded that he be called up to the Norway national team. 5 goals and 7 assists in 23 appearances for Strømsgodset, the world was beginning to take notice of his talent. Called the Norwegian Messi due to his magical left foot and style of play, Real Madrid came calling. They signed him for €4 million with add-ons that could rise up to €8.5 million. Real Madrid announced that Ødegaard would train with both the club's first team and the reserves. The hype for this transfer was crazy. It was everywhere, from TV to social media.
It was the second coming of Messi, almost. He was that good.
But the excitement of the move came to an end very quickly. In April, Ødegaard was dropped from Real Madrid Castilla after a run of 4 defeats, with staff finding problems with him training with the first team while playing for the reserves, in addition to a language barrier. Ancelotti urged fans to be patient as Ødegaard settles in a new country. He was called up for the matchday squad after injuries to Bale, Modric, and Benzema, but he didn't feature in the match. On the 23rd of May, the final game of the season, he finally got his chance, coming on as a sub against Getafe. He became the youngest debutant in the history of the club at 16 years and 157 days old. At the same time, he was finally becoming a regular starter at Castilla. However, these performances were not considered good enough for Los Blancos. In an effort to help Ødegaard's development, he was sent on loan to Dutch club SC Heerenveen. He himself told Fox Sports that he was pleased to change his surroundings, hoping that the time away from the attention of media and fans would allow him to improve his ability. But even in a new environment, Ødegaard couldn't get on the right track. His start to his time at Heerenveen was poor, having only 1 shot and 1 assist in his first 7 games.
Actually quite disheartening to see Ødegaard not quite live up to the hype that was surrounding him at the time.
And he was later pushed to the substitutes bench by manager Jürgen Streppel. In 2018, he became a regular starter, but his performances were still far away from the expectations that people had, especially for a guy who was considered the Norwegian Messi. He was loaned out again from Real Madrid, this time to Vitesse. Like other youngsters who were hyped too early, like Hakim Maestro and Halilovic, it seemed that Ødegaard was on the same path. A youngster that was hyped too much, too early potentially, and maybe even made a jump to a big club too soon. But what separated Ødegaard from the other youngsters that had flopped in the past was his mentality. He was strong and pushed through, really shining at Vitesse. He got 11 goals and 12 assists in his 1 season there and was also voted as the club's best player of the season by the fans. The next season he was loaned out again, but he maintained his good form at Real Sociedad. He put on a man-of-the-match performance against Atletico Madrid and was named the La Liga Player of the Month for September. In February, he actually scored against Real Madrid, eliminating his parent club from the Copa del Rey. Sociedad had a very successful season, winning the Copa del Rey and clinching a Europa League spot. Fun fact, Ødegaard was teammates with Mikel Merino at his time at Sociedad, with the 2 players being reunited again at Arsenal. Ødegaard was now in great form, and while he might not be playing at the level that people expected for somebody that was considered a prodigy, it was obvious that he was no flop. After 2 successful loan stints, Ødegaard made it very clear to Real Madrid that he wanted to leave. He wanted stability and consistent first-team football. He ended up joining Arsenal on loan as Arteta saw the Norwegian as the solution to the creativity issues at Arsenal.
He made us better. We needed more options, alternatives, creativity.
Especially since at this time it was clear that Ozil was not part of Arteta's plans. Arteta had seen something in Ødegaard and he was right. Ødegaard looked fantastic in the 6 months he was at London. He scored a 20-yard strike against Olympiacos, scored his first Premier League goal in the North London derby, and was voted Arsenal's Player of the Month for March. It should come as no surprise that Ødegaard was signed permanently by Arsenal in the summer of 2021. Ødegaard continued to shine in an Arsenal team that was quite inconsistent. Arteta was early in his Arsenal project. He was trying to make his own stamp, but was also trying to get rid of the deadwood at the club. Ødegaard, though, was very much part of his plan, as he was named the new captain of the Gunners after the departure of Aubameyang and Lacazette.
But what I've seen over the last 18 months that he's been at the club with us, that he represents the values of this football club, of this team, of his teammates and staff in the best possible way.
Since that point, Ødegaard only got better and better. His first season as captain, he was balling, getting goals and assists, as Arsenal shocked everyone by jumping from 5th place the season before to title contenders. He was awarded the Premier League Player of the Year award at the 2023 London Football Awards, and included in the PFA Team of the Year. Arsenal looked to be developing their very own superstar. The next season, his good form continued, showing that it wasn't just a lucky 1 season, as he was voted into the PFA Team of the Year again. The elegance he played with, the creativity, he was a joy to watch, especially for those who love football.
Now watch him play, it is so smooth, it's so silky.
His vision He's magnificent.
He's a beautiful player. For me, that is an absolute unbelievable football player, and I think the best player in the league.
Very different than just talented. This is real class.
You know, going to Real Madrid at 16, going on loan to Sociedad, which sort of give him the confidence. Then you bring him into Arsenal, and then after a year or two, you make him captain. So Arteta recognises the player and the character, and he's a beautiful footballer to watch.
I think he knits everything together.
But the 2025 season was a completely different story. Now, some might argue that the weaknesses in Ødegaard's game were already visible even during the periods where he was playing well. Cause at times the close ball control and fancy flicks were great, but other times you wanted a player more direct. A quick long ball, a quick threaded through ball were things that were missing in Ødegaard's game, especially when you compared him to the great attacking midfielders like a Kevin De Bruyne, for example. Now you could also argue that a reason for this could be Arteta's fault. He has built the team around control. He has instructed players to take fewer risks, play slower. But honestly, from watching Ødegaard over the years, he's always been this type of player. He isn't someone who is at his best in transition. He is at his best unlocking low blocks, finding pockets of space in areas that are as crowded as the lineups for Bonnie Blue. The other issue that people bring up is his reliance on one foot. He constantly needs to get the ball onto his left, which not only makes him predictable, but fans argue that this is another reason why Arsenal's attacks get slowed down, because a player will be wide open on the break, but Ødegaard wants to keep the ball, bring it back onto his left. But even with this so-called limitation, he's still one of the most creative midfielders in the league. Not to mention that 3 of the greatest players ever were all left foot dominant. I'm not saying Ødegaard is as good as these 3 guys. Calm down. What I'm saying is that being one-footed doesn't automatically stop you from reaching the highest levels. Injuries definitely didn't help him either. Even though he came back relatively quick from his ankle sprain, I don't think he ever fully recovered. You could see it in his shooting. He rarely smacked the ball the way you want to smack some juicy cheeks. Now he rarely shoots. He almost scored a wonderful goal against PSG, but that was a rare sight post-injury. It's not just the shooting either. He was missing his usual sharpness. He wasn't at his best physically. In certain situations and 50-50 tackles, you could see him pulling out. Now he's not the most aggressive player, but he wasn't always someone who was this afraid of duels. You could see him hesitate both with and without the ball. In terms of his numbers, it goes back to expectations. Yes, he can get you goals, but he's a creator first. In my opinion, relying on him to be a regular double-digit scorer isn't realistic. He's a Robin type player, not a Batman. He might not even be a Robin, he's probably more Alfred, but I think you guys know what I mean. He isn't necessarily going to be the guy who's the face of the team. So when Saka gets injured for like 3 months, obviously Ødegaard isn't going to play as well. He is someone who is heavily dependent on his chemistry with other players. When Saka is injured, Havertz is out, and your partnerships are constantly changing due to injuries, he isn't going to play well. Because Ødegaard is at his best when there's regular patterns of play. How many times have we seen him and Saka recreate the exact same goal? How many times was Ødegaard able to find exactly where Havertz was going to make a run into? Ødegaard is still as important as ever. It's just in a team that was always changing, he was asked to carry even more weight. Does he maybe need to play a different role? Because I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans question his position. Is he really a number 10 or should he play deeper? At times he does seem more Bernardo Silva-esque than Kevin De Bruyne. Someone who can help with the build-up. Someone who can keep you in possession, make the team tick. As opposed to being the type of player who does a lot of damage in the attacking third. It's hard to tell because he's had multiple seasons where he's looked amazing as an attacking midfielder. He's shown that he can regularly get goals and assists. I feel like he's the exact type of player who would benefit from more quality up front, having a better left winger to pass to, having a better striker. Because I think people are very quick to label someone bad, despite the fact that a bad player would never regularly show up in the PFA Team of the Year. I just think whenever any team goes through a rough patch, fans look for the easiest scapegoat. For 2025, that scapegoat was Ødegaard. Issues rarely happen just because of one guy. It's not because of one person that a team has a good or bad season. But when you wear the armband, you're gonna get the bulk of the criticism when you're not playing at the highest level possible. Ødegaard is still an incredibly talented player, and he hasn't fallen off a cliff by any means. A slight drop-off doesn't mean we should forget everything the Arsenal captain has done. At his best, he's still a top quality player. There are not many midfielders that can do what he does. And even if you want him gone, replacing him wouldn't be easy. Now, Ødegaard isn't the only other player to be criticized on this Arsenal team. For some reason, Saka gets plenty of it too. To see how Saka is following in the footsteps of Thierry Henry, you gotta check out this video right here.